My wife found out about my girlfriend and got very angry. She didn't fight or argue with me, but instead started doing things quietly. First, she somehow found out where my girlfriend worked. She called the office and sent in some messages with screenshots and evidence. A few days later, my girlfriend lost her job. They said it was because of conduct issues and distractions affecting the workplace. My girlfriend was shocked and didn't even know where it came from. After that, my wife called Korea authorities and reported my girlfriend's mother's shop. She said the shop was violating safety and hygiene rules. She went to the shop and saw one expired good. She reported all sorts. She wrote letters upon letters. The rules stated that every shop must have proper waste disposal, use only approved measuring scales, and must not block public walkways. She also said the shop had no fire extinguisher, and they sometimes sold exported goods. Within a week, officials came and shut the place down. My girlfriend's mother was devastated. My wife did not stop there. That wasn't the end. My wife went online and somehow found the husband of my girlfriend's sister. She sent him screenshots of private chats between me and my girlfriend. She said she just wanted him to know what kind of family he had married into. This caused serious problems in their marriage, and now everyone is fighting each other. My girlfriend is crying every day. Her family is blaming her for bringing shame to them. I am stuck in the middle of all this. I don't understand why my wife is doing all this. Instead of focusing on our children and her own life, she is going out of her way to destroy everyone connected to my girlfriend. This is not just revenge, this is wickedness of the highest order. She is acting like she wants to burn the whole world down just because she got hurt. But now, I'm starting to wonder what type of wicked person I married. This is wickedness. Pure wickedness. Like, she still carries Bible this morning, left the house to church. Now I'm even worried for my safety if I can eat in this house. Anyways, the house went quiet after she left for church. Not the normal Sunday quiet, the kind that feels heavy, like the walls are listening. I sat on the edge of the bed long after the gate slammed shut, staring at my phone. I wanted to call my girlfriend. I wanted to explain. I wanted to apologize. I did none of that. For the first time, it dawned on me that every move I made now had consequences far beyond me. When my wife returned, she didn't raise her voice. That was what scared me most. She moved around the kitchen calmly, reheating food, washing plates, checking on the children. She even asked if I had eaten. Her tone was normal, too normal. No insults. No accusations. Just control. Later that night, she finally spoke. I hope you're seeing what your choices have cost, she said, folding clothes neatly. I didn't create this problem. I'm just responding to it. I wanted to argue. I wanted to shout that she'd gone too far. But the words refused to come out. Because part of me knew she believed every word she was saying. The next day, my phone started buzzing. Unknown numbers. One message after another. My girlfriend's brother called me useless. Her aunt said I had destroyed their family. Her sister sent a voice note crying, saying her marriage might not survive this shame. I listened to it once and couldn't listen again. By evening, my girlfriend finally sent a message. I don't think we should talk anymore. Everything is broken. My mom cries every night. My sister's husband has left the house. I can't even go outside. Please, just let me be. That was it. No drama. No long explanation. Just exhaustion. I sat in the car for almost an hour after reading it. That was when it truly hit me, I had lost her. Not because my wife chased her away, but because the damage was too much to carry. That night, I slept on the couch. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my wife praying softly in the bedroom. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just steady words, asking God for strength, for wisdom, for justice. I lay there staring at the ceiling, realizing something uncomfortable. She wasn't spiraling. She wasn't out of control. She was deliberate. In the days that followed, she stopped making calls. Stopped sending messages. It was as if she had finished what she set out to do. The silence felt like the aftermath of a storm, everything destroyed, nothing left to hit. One evening, she sat beside me and said quietly, "I'm not your enemy. But I will never be your fool." That sentence stayed with me. I started to understand that this wasn't just about revenge. It was about boundaries, drawn with fire instead of words. About a woman who decided she would never be embarrassed quietly. But understanding didn't bring peace. Because now I had to live with the truth. I didn't marry a wicked woman. I married a woman who loved me deeply, and learned what she was capable of only after I betrayed her. And the question that haunted me wasn't whether she had gone too far. It was whether there was anything left to save after everything I had broken. The children noticed before anyone said anything. They always do. My son asked why mommy no longer laughed at my jokes. My daughter stopped running to greet me when I came home. The house still functioned, meals cooked, uniforms washed, prayers said, but warmth had quietly packed its bags and left. One evening, my wife asked me to sit down. No shouting. No threats. Just two chairs facing each other. "I spoke to my pastor today," she said. "Not to expose you. Not to disgrace you. Just to talk." My stomach tightened. "He asked me a simple question," she continued. "Do I still want this marriage, or do I just want justice?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because I didn't know which answer would save me. She looked tired for the first time since everything started. Not angry. Not calculating. Just tired. "I loved you," she said plainly. "I built my life around you. And you made me look like a fool in my own home." Her voice cracked slightly, then steadied again. "I won't fight your girlfriend anymore. There's nothing left to fight. But don't mistake my silence for forgiveness." A week later, I heard my girlfriend had moved out of Legos. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. Her mother's shop remained sealed. Her sister's marriage was still hanging by a thread. People had moved on, but scars don't need noise to exist. At work, I couldn't focus. At home, I felt like a guest. At church, sermons felt personal, like the pastor was speaking directly at my chest. One night, after the children had slept, my wife said the words I had been both expecting and dreading. "I think we should separate for now. Not divorce. Not reconciliation. Space. For the children," she added. "And for myself. I need to remember who I am without your betrayal sitting in my chest every day." I nodded. That was all I could do. I moved into a small apartment not far away. It was quiet. Too quiet. No children's laughter. No clatter of plates. Just me and my thoughts that finally had nowhere to hide. That was when the guilt fully arrived. Not the fear of being caught. Not the anger at my wife's actions. But the understanding that I had set all of this in motion. My wife didn't destroy my life. I cracked it open, and everyone bled. Some nights, I still replay everything in my head, wondering where things truly went wrong. The truth is uncomfortable but clear. It wasn't the moment my wife found out. It wasn't the reports, the calls, the exposure. It was the day I decided I could live two lives without consequences. And now, standing alone in a quiet room, I finally understood something I wish I had known earlier. Some betrayals don't end in shouting. They end in distance. And silence can be far more permanent than anger. Enjoy and wait for the next. On paper, it was temporary. In reality, it felt like a verdict that had already been passed, just not read aloud yet. Balance scale. I saw the children twice a week. They were polite with me, careful with their words, like people who had learned that adults could break without warning. Girl medium skin tone, boy medium skin tone. My wife was civil. Too civil. She spoke only about schedules, school fees, medical needs. Calendar, money bag, hospital, nothing else. No memories. No arguments. No emotions. That absence was heavier than shouting. Face without mouth, fog. One afternoon, her lawyer called. Telephone receiver. Not aggressive. Not threatening. Just precise. He spoke about assets, responsibilities, custody arrangements if the separation became permanent. I heard my own breathing loud in my ears as he spoke, realizing something sobering. My wife was no longer reacting. She was planning. Brain bookmark tabs. That night, I couldn't sleep. For the first time since everything began, I wasn't afraid of my wife's anger. I was afraid of her clarity. Crescent moon, anxious face with sweat. I went back over the past years carefully, without excuses this time. The lies. The late nights. The small decisions I told myself didn't matter. I finally saw them for what they were, not mistakes, but patterns. Repeat button. A month later, I asked to talk. She agreed, but only in a public place. Hot beverage cityscape. I don't hate you, she said after I finished apologizing, properly this time, without defending myself. But hatred would have been easier. Hate keeps you emotionally involved, broken heart. I swallowed hard. What do you feel now? I asked. She paused. I feel done being unsafe, stop sign. That word, unsafe, hit me harder than any insult could have. Collision. She went on. You didn't just betray me as a wife. You exposed my children to instability. You embarrassed me publicly. I responded the only way I knew how, with control. I'm not proud of everything I did. But I won't pretend I regret protecting myself, shield. For the first time, she admitted that what she did had crossed lines. But she didn't apologize. Crossmark. And that was when I understood something painful and final. Forgiveness is not guaranteed just because remorse is sincere. Dove. Weeks later, the divorce papers came. Page facing up, writing hand. Not rushed. Not emotional. Just thorough. I signed them with a shaking hand, realizing this was not the collapse of a marriage, it was the consequence of one. Puzzle piece. The girlfriend was long gone from my life, but her shadow remained. Not as love. Not even as desire. As evidence. Proof that one selfish season can rewrite an entire future. Fog. On the last day I moved the remaining boxes out of the family house, my wife stood by the door. Package door. I hope you heal, she said. But healing doesn't mean access, prohibited red heart. I nodded, unable to argue. As I drove away, it finally settled in, not as anger, not as fear, but as truth. Some lessons arrive late, stay forever, and cost everything. Motorway thought balloon. Life didn't fall apart after the divorce. It simply became smaller. Mantelpiece clock. I learned the routines of my new life quickly: work, traffic, a quiet apartment, short visits with the children. I stopped explaining myself to people. Most already had their own version of the story, and correcting them felt pointless. My ex-wife moved on in ways I couldn't see but could feel. The children adjusted faster than I did. Children always do. They learn how to survive emotional weather without asking why the storm came. Footprints. Sometimes, late at night, I replayed everything, not with anger anymore, but with clarity. I finally understood something I had avoided for too long. My wife didn't destroy my life. She ended her participation in my lie. That distinction mattered. Balance scale. I heard through mutual friends that she had started counseling, not to heal the marriage, but to rebuild herself. She stopped discussing me entirely. That hurt more than any confrontation could have. Silence, again, doing what noise never could. Zippermouth face. One afternoon, my son asked me a question I wasn't prepared for. Daddy, why don't you live with us anymore? There was no safe answer. Only an honest one. Because I made choices that hurt your mom. He nodded, accepting it with the quiet wisdom children use when adults finally stop lying. Brain. That was when responsibility stopped being a concept and became a daily weight I carried willingly. I never heard from my former girlfriend again. Not even curiosity remained. Whatever we thought we had was too small to survive real consequences. It hadn't been love, just escape dressed up as affection. Years from now, people will forget the details. They always do. But I won't. Because the hardest lesson wasn't losing my marriage, my home, or my reputation. It was learning, too late, that integrity isn't proven when things are easy. It's proven when no one is watching. And by the time I learned that truth, everyone who mattered had already been watching. Please like, share, and comment.